nobody is asking for AI music. No one actually wants AI music. No one is actively seeking out AI songs by AI artists, right? Every time we hear an AI song, it's against our will in some playlist. No one wants this. No one's asking for it. No one wants their next favorite song, next favorite record, next favorite artist to be machine generated, cold, emotionless, void of human connection, says nothing, means nothing. No one wants this. So why are they forcing it on us? Why Spotify in particular? To answer this, it helps to look at the business model around this, of course, right? And I would point you to, for some background on this, Liz Pelly's book called Mood Machine. She's a journalist and a great writer and goes through the founding of Spotify. And in short, they don't care about music. They just got into this because it was a dysfunctional industry that was relatively easy to exploit. Think back to the founding of Amazon, where Jeff Bezos didn't care about books. It was just another dysfunctional industry that was ripe for the taking, and he certainly did that and then went beyond books. Spotify's the same. They don't care about music. It means nothing to them. It's just a product. And gradually, little by little, with every decision, what they've done is moved more and more towards AI and as a way to disadvantage human artists. Let me explain. First thing, last year, they demonetized 80% of the artists on the platform with an arbitrary threshold of, was 1,000 streams, I think, per month, per song, or something like that, where anything that fell below that threshold, they weren't going to pay anymore. And it's estimated that saved Spotify $40 million. I would call that wage theft instead of saving them money, because they've taken money that was in the initial promise. Like, in other words, if I had my music up there and was driving my listeners and my fans to Spotify, that would benefit the platform, right? Because that would be a Spotify subscription, or they'd be able to serve ads. But now I would not get paid for that. Now, of course, I removed my entire catalog from Spotify for not that reason, but another reason. I didn't want to be associated with automated military weaponry and the violence that comes with that. That's why I pulled my catalog. But so everybody, I think it's well known that streaming, as a rule, doesn't pay very well. And that's across every single one of the major platforms, not just Spotify. It averages out to about 0.3 of a penny per stream. And of course, there's limiters on what a stream is. And the idea here is to pay us as little as possible as artists and musicians, even though we create the whole reason for people to be on the platform. So that's point one of devaluing this. And of course, the way the interface works, the user interface is designed around playlists. This is Liz Pelly's whole thing about Mood Machine, right? They want to create moods and make it generally more difficult to listen to a whole record as the artist intended. And the reason for that is when you disaggregate, it reduces the power of the artist. If we don't have the ability to connect with our favorite artists as easily, it diminishes the power that the artists have. And that's good for Spotify and their business model. Now, onto AI. A recent thing that they did is they started verifying human artists. I put that in quotes, but I probably shouldn't have done that. You had to have over 30,000 active monthly users, and then you could get a verified badge. So Spotify would say this artist is human. Now, of course, what they say is this is good because we can protect you from AI music. But really, I read this as this was their tacit endorsement of AI music, because they lumped me and all these other independent artists and folks who are middle tier too, they lumped all of us in with AI, right? Because if it's not verified, then it's AI or these other artists that we don't really care about. And this right here is very, very good for Spotify because, now the more AI music that is unverified as far as they're concerned, they can further devalue that. Okay, so another statistic that supports all this is that 65,000 to 75,000 estimated 65,000 songs per day are uploaded to streaming. This is not just Spotify. That are AI generated. Let me reiterate that. 65,000 AI generated songs per day are uploaded to streaming. Do the math on that. How many is that per month, per year? What does that look like, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Spotify is saying that they're okay with AI music. It's just not going to be verified. At some point, they'll get to their stated goal, if you read Mood Machine, which is getting to, in effect, 100% AI music, effectively, right? So it could be, if it's being uploaded at that rate, at some point, the whole corpus of music that we've recorded to date will get smaller and smaller by percentage. So they're going to get to 99% or 100% within, I can't do the math on that, but it happens pretty quickly on a geometric scale in that way. 100% AI music, 100% devalued, right? So, and there's rumors now, I don't have this verified, but basically that Spotify is commissioning some portion of this AI music. In other words, they're paying people to, prompt jockeys to generate some portion of those songs. So in other words, they're not having to pay royalties on this. They own those songs outright. And point two is just that this, we'll see how this plays out. But it may not be possible in the future to monetize AI generated music anyway. In other words, not to earn royalties on this. And either way, the way that streaming is monetized is that there's a giant pool of all the streams that happen over the course of a month. And then basically each of the artists or their intermediary label gets a percentage of that based on the amount of streams that you get. So you can see that the more music that you flood in there, the per stream rate goes down even further. So in other words, this is all a way for them to further reduce the amount of money that they need to pay out to artists, thereby filling their pockets and the pockets of their shareholders. So that is why this is being forced upon us, even though we don't want it. The business model is designed around this very thing, devaluing music, devaluing the relationship that we have with music and with the artists that make the music, so that they can pay us less and just cash your subscription. There's only one thing to do about this is if you subscribe to Spotify, stop. Delete the platform. Streaming in general is not a good deal for artists, but Spotify is the worst offender, not just from business model standpoint, but from an ethical standpoint. Just delete the app. When you think about it, they have a good interface, a large catalog, but like a lot of different services like this, you think things like cable or phone company, telecom, there are so many different services out there that are effectively equivalent. So do your part and delete Spotify.